So you're probably here because you're interested in installing the Ciro 3D Shock and Awe 2.0 kit on your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. You've definitely come to the right place. Welcome back, Bikeaholics. Ryan Erlacher here, lawabidingbiker.com. Thank you for checking back in. This is going to be a tutorial video, a complete install video on the Shock and Awe 2.0 kit. Anytime you want to get it, you want to support us, you appreciate all the videos we put out, you can get this kit and all the accessories right in the Law Abiding Biker store. Link will be in the description below. So a couple things you need to know about this kit. This is the base kit, which means it basically lights up your motor. It's the engine starter kit. You can also add on, to complete the look, front fork illuminators, also rear saddlebag extension kit. At the time of purchase, you can add on those accessories, and it does make a really nice package when they're all put together. Additionally, with the 2.0 kit, you get 3 channels, and what I mean by that is you can have 3 independent sets of lights. So you can have your front wheel, your saddlebag, and your engine all different. You can have them on those independent channels, make them different colors, and have them do independent things. And with the new 2.0 app and this kit, you can do a whole bunch of really cool things with adjustments. We've already done a complete tutorial video on how to use that app. I will link to it in the description below. And with that said, what do you say we get our hands dirty? But before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell icon every time those are hit. Another biker joins the revolution. We'd like to have you be part of it. All right, so the first thing Lurch is doing is we got to get this seat out of the way so we can get access to our battery. Just a Phillips on the rear there, or you may have a thumb screw. And just lift up and pull back. All right, now that the seat's removed, yours may look a little bit different, but he's just going to start popping plugs, and it's just a push-pull, some of your main plugs there. Again, yours may look a little different, but essentially we're removing everything, getting out of our way so we can get access to the battery. There's his ECM. He's going to pop his ECM out of the way there. You can kind of just hang it off the side, and just got another plug down there. Again, just popping the tab. All right, with a Torx 40, there's 2 bolts on the rear here. There's a plastic tray up over the battery, so he's just loosening both of those. All right, so he's going to go ahead and remove this plastic tray. There's just a tongue up front. You kind of got to push down and forward. There's a metal tab up there. And once you release that off that tongue, you can set that off to the side now. All right, and with a Phillips screwdriver, he's just removing the negative side of this battery. We're going to disconnect it. And he's just moving over, and he'll release the positive side here. All right, and before we get started here, we want to test that all 3 channels are working on the controller box itself. Use your battery in your motorcycle. You don't have to take it out. We just have an external battery for this video to make it easier to show you. But we've got 1 pod into each channel. All right, and we've already done a complete tutorial on how to use the Shock and Awe app. I'll link to it in the description below. But for purposes today, we just want to test the channels. So I've got the app up, and I'm just going to go down here and go into my menu. The first time it comes on, you'll want to select up here to make sure you have the right box. It will appear there, the right controller box. Just make sure all 3 channels have a green by them, and that way we know they're all on. And then I can go ahead and hit my power button, and that means all 3 channels are working on and off. And of course, there's all kinds of adjustments in here and stuff, but there you go. Now we can install it. All right, so we're up underneath the seat here. He's got the Shock and Awe controller right there, knob. And what he's going to do right now is just fish that through, find a channel, and we're going to try to bring it out. We'll show you here in a second out the right side of the bike there. And then, of course, don't forget, we'll have to find somewhere to put the actual controller box itself. All right, just got a little rubbing alcohol, and he's cleaning the area on the frame there where we're going to stick the controller knob. All right, and on the back of that controller, just a little 3M sticky tape. Take that off, and then he will go up to the area that he cleaned, and he'll just hold that for 10 or 15 seconds, make sure it's on there good. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead, and he's got the actual controller box and the leads there. It's got an inline fuse. We're going to actually hook it up to the battery. So he's got the positive side. You may have other accessories. That's what you're looking at there. So make sure you hook up all your other accessories too. The reason we're hooking it up right now is so that as we go with the install and we attach pods, we can see that each one is working as we go along the install. Just in case we had a bad one, we could get that replaced. So just this Phillips screwdriver is getting everything tightened down there with all my accessories. And he just moved over to the negative side, doing the same thing, getting all the accessories hooked up, including the shock and awe control box, and good to go. All right, and that's the shock and awe control box. For now, he's just gonna stuff it through. It does have sticky tape on it, but we are not going to stick it down right now. We're just pushing it through. We'll stick it at the very end, and of course, we'll show you that. So he's just gonna let it dangle underneath there. So we're on the right side of the bike. We're kind of just mocking it up here, and this is what you can lay out for the right side. Y splitter, a pod, an extension, another pod, and then you can see we've got another Y adapter, and then 2 pods at the very end. And we're going to click all these together. So Lurch over here has some dielectric grease. Just make sure in each connector it comes with your kit. We're just using our own tube, but make sure you get some dielectric grease in between each of those connections. Make sure you hear them snap closed. All right, and you're just going to move on down the line here the way we had it all lined up and connect this entire string together. All right, and on the very end of the string, of course, we had the Y adapter, and that's because 2 pods go in the very end here. All right, and at the very beginning of the string, you may be wondering why we put a Y adapter there, because one's blank, because that is going to go wrap around the left side of the bike when we get to that point, and we'll be plugging into that. All right, so you remember we left our controller box just dangling up in there. There's 3 channels coming off this, and that's so you can individually control your engine lights, and if you add saddlebag extensions or you add a front light, fork illuminator, you can operate them all independently. The shortest lead coming off the box is channel 1, and then the next is 2, and then the longest is 3. And we're going to plug this for our right side for our engine entirely is channel 1. And so that strip we just mocked up, he's plugged that in. All right, so we have the entire strip hooked up. Of course, now we're just going to mock it up with masking tape, and we're going to kind of show you where the pods go. Again, this is a universal kit. You could change things within reason. All right, and again, he's just using masking tape, getting everything mocked up first. That's where your first one goes. All right, and for the second pod, he's just going right up underneath towards the rear of the tank there. Just some masking tape. And there's another pod that we're going to put right on the underside of the front of the tank there. All right, and so that one up underneath the front of the tank, and this one he has here is going to go underneath the air cleaner, but these 2 actually come off the end of that strip on the right side here, off that Y connector. So the 2 front ones come off that Y connector. He's just going to move up underneath there, and there's a flat spot right underneath there on the bottom of your air cleaner. He's feeling for that, and that's where that one's going to go. All right, and so now that we've got it all mocked up and we know it's good, he's going to clean each spot with rubbing alcohol as we go along here before we stick the pods on. All right, and on the back of each pod, of course, is the 3M sticky tape. Peel that off. We know the area is clean. And right in the same exact spot we mocked that up is where he's going to stick that. And just good even pressure for 10-15 seconds. Make sure those are stuck on there good. All right, and same thing here. Again, we're just going to go along. You already know where they all go because we've shown you, but just clean it up with rubbing alcohol before he actually sticks it on there. And again, just peeling the tape there, and it'll go right up underneath. Again, that good even pressure all the way along. And you can see he's just securing that one up on the front of the tank. Again, those 2 on the front come off that Y splitter. And he's just finishing up with the one underneath the air tank. Again, look for that flat spot. All right, so you at the end will come back and do wire management. You will have some extra cable you'll have to deal with, but we've got all the pods in place, and we are now going to move around to the left side. Real quick, guys, if you appreciate all these free videos and what we're trying to do to help the law-abiding biker community, there is a way you could support us. You can become a patron member, lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon. There'll be a link in the description below. You can pledge a certain amount per piece of content that we put out. No risk, because you can put a monthly cap. There are benefits of becoming a member. There's a private Facebook group that's blowing up. There's also access to premium videos and t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, all the information is over. Hit the link, check it out. All right, let's get back into your video. All right, so we're on the left side of the bike, and you'll want to get this all clicked together. Don't forget your dielectric grease, but this is how it's going to go. You're going to start with a pod, move into an extension, and then you're going to move into another pod, and then a Y adapter, and of course a pod comes off each end of the Y adapter, back into another extension, and then you're going to end over here with a pod. Okay, so we've got the strip that we just mocked up from the on the left side here, and we're plugging it into the other side of the Y adapter. Remember, originally we came off the control box with a Y adapter, the right side Y, and then there's a left side Y. So we're just plugging into that same one that we started with on the right side of the bike. All right, now that he's got it all mocked up, he's just moving in and getting rid of his masking tape and permanently mounting again. Make sure they're all clean with alcohol before you stick them on there. And just good even pressure. He's putting that one on the rear of the tank there. And he went ahead and moved up to that one on the front of the tank there. And he's just working on that one that goes horizontal again behind the horn cover. All right, he's just finishing up there with that last one that goes right up on the underside of the neck there. All right, and so now we've got all the pods stuck on the left side here. And we'll move in and just do a little wire management with any of the extra cable we have. All right, so we want to show you some of the things that come in your kit for wire management. Wire management is pretty much up to you and how you want to secure the extra cable and stuff. But right here, you just got some sticky pads. You could put extra sticky on the back of a pod or something like that. Again, just sticky pads, use them for what you want. Then we've got some little clips. And these little clips have sticky on the back. And of course, you can just run a wire. It's just a clip, and clip your cables into those, stick them wherever you want. And we'll move over to the square pads. And these are actually for zip ties. They are sticky on the back, as you can see. And then you can just run a zip tie, which comes in your kit, any direction you want, and zip tie your cables down. So that's what we're going to be using. Again, wire management is up to you. All right, and that's what he's working on right now, just going around the bike and zip tying and using the sticky pads and all that to just tidy everything up. All right, so this is the basically the brain box. Of course, we've just left it hanging to this point. We will secure it here in a moment, but I wanted to talk about the channels on it. Now, the engine kit that lights your engine, we're showing you how to install, of course. That just lights the motor, and you've got two. We plugged into channel 1 for that, which means we can operate our engine lights. And then we have 2 other channels, and what we've got plugged in here is we strongly suggest adding the Fork Mounted Illuminators, which light your front wheel. And then we've also, in the 3rd channel, the last channel, we've added the Saddlebag Extension LEDs for the complete package. And because those are all separate channels, we can operate them all independently. When you're in our store at the time of purchase, you can add the Fork Illuminators and the Saddlebag Extension Kit. And if you want to see a video on how to install the Fork Illuminators or the Saddlebag Extension Kit, I will link to those videos below. And also on this bike, I've already mentioned it, but we put the Ciro 3D Fork Mounted Illuminators. Again, it just finishes things off up front. And you can see there's one on both sides. They're kind of a horseshoe there. And you can get those at the time of purchase, of course. And we also have a free install video on that. I will link to it in the description below. So we wanted to show you real quick the bottom of the saddlebag. This is the Saddlebag Extension Kit. Again, you can get it at the time of purchase. It really finishes things off. But you can see it's very simple. That's the front of the bag where the lead goes out. And of course, there's a lead coming out nearby so that you can plug it in and unplug it real easy when you take your saddlebag off. So that's one option. Again, just 3M sticky tape. The other option is you can move on down. And if you want to, you can stick that strip to the bottom of your saddlebag support bar. And then actually you don't even need to unplug anything when you're taking your saddlebag on and off. So those are kind of the 2 options that we wanted to show you. All right, so the brain box, you can see stuff down in there. It does have sticky tape on the back. You can stick it if you find a place where you want to position it. But what we're doing, we're not even using the sticky. We're just kind of stuffing it up underneath in front of the battery here. So do with it what you will. All right, and so we're just buttoning things back up in here. Of course, putting the tray, the plastic tray over the top of the battery there. And remember, there's a tongue up front. You kind of got to position and then pull back on that so you can line it up with the bolt holes on the rear here. All right, don't forget you've got in the rear of that top tray, you've got the 2 bolts. And with his Torx 40 wrench, he's just going to tighten that down. And he's moving over to the other side, get that other bolt in. All right, and just he's just going back. Just remember, whatever you unplug to get access to the battery, just putting all the stock plugs back together, gray to gray, black to black, all that kind of stuff. Just button everything back up, putting his ECM back in here, and it just clicks into place there. 2 tabs on the side. And he'll just finish it up zip tying and organizing things. We've got a lot of extra accessories underneath the seat here. All right, he's just going back on the seat. Of course, I've got a heated seat, so he's got to plug that in. And there we go, he's just tightening that down. Good God, dude. What is wrong with your stomach, dude?
Did you hear that?
What is wrong with your stomach, dude? Can't have that in the background.
Quesadilla that you just gave me. I don't know if it works.
Way to go, Grip.
New job.
Way to go.